Hello everyone, welcome back to Techies on Wheel. Till now, we have looked on to what is RPA. We have understood the entire delivery lifecycle of RPA and how the entire delivery process looks like. Today, we will discuss onto the different RPA roles and responsibilities involved for the smooth delivery of the project. So let's get started. We'll first understand the involvement of the people and the designations they hold in the entire hierarchy of RPA project. So like any other project, there is a manager who looks around for the smooth delivery of the project and helps the entire team to achieve that goal for the delivery of the project is the one we call her again the RPA manager. We'll discuss on to the detailed roles and responsibilities going ahead. So RPA manager, post RPA manager, we have RPA business analyst. On high level, if I explain about the role, like any business analyst, requirement gathering and the functional understanding of the entire project and documentation related to it is the purview where the RPA business analysts are involved onto. Then we have RPA solution architect, like the name suggests. He or she is the person who looks around the project delivery from the technical forefront, be it be the technical feasibility of the project or the infra or kind of technical forefront softwares involved for the delivery of the project is something which RPA solution architects look around, along with the development management. So then there are RPA team leads. This is a bit tricky. It's not a mandate part. This is kind of a position or designations where a lot of projects which comes into picture, or a bigger project comes into picture of the delivery. Then say there are 4 or 5 developers involved, then one of them can be chosen, or the senior one could be designated as RPA team lead, which looks around the entire development team along with the development of the uh, I would say trickier part of the technical development part of the project is the RPA team lead, along with managing those developers and kind of guiding them for the smooth development process. Then we have senior RPA developer and junior RPA developer along with the RPA tester. So senior RPA developers are the one who are having greater experience, compared to the other developers. These are mainly the 3 to 4+ years of experience of RPA developers. Usually in RPA are designated as senior RPA developers. The one who hold experience less than 3 years or 2 years are junior RPA developers. It again depends on organization level, what are the designations they offer onto what experience level. And then we have RPA testers. It is again an optional part, but now as the RPA is growing, usually good organizations or the bigger team has RPA tester to reduce the burden onto the testing of the solution from the developer shoulder. So RPA testers are the one who helps these developers test their solution as it goes on for the integration testing and I would say UAT phases. So these are the high level of roles involved in the entire RPA delivery lifecycle. Moving ahead, we will understand each of these roles in detail and what kind of skill sets are required for them. So first is the RPA manager. Like I told, RPA manager are the one who looks on high level for the and is responsible on high level for the smooth delivery of the project. So what are the roles involved? If I talk about is the roles start from the client management, then the resource management, risk management, like if there is any kind of risk which uh, uh, he or she foresee which can impact the delivery of the project, is something where again RP manager peeks into. Client management, if I talk about again like the name suggests, uh, managing the client, if any kind of escalations or expectations which comes up from the client end is something which a manager manages on his end. Then there are resource management, like what kind of resources will be involved for the project delivery. It's not only about looking onto the resources, say RP managers might be looking onto more than one project at a time. So what resources are getting free at what sort of time and where their involvement needs to be in future. All those mappings lies with the RPA manager. Next is the dependencies management. So if in case for say there is a third party dependency or any other application or any other infra or team dependencies for the smooth project delivery is something again which RPA managers help seeking help into. And then we have deliver, again, the RP managers are responsible for the timeline management. So if there is a commitment which comes up for the delivery of project or an expectation set already, manager will have to keep an key eye onto the timelines so that it doesn't get delayed. And then there is the project closure management. So again, it's not only about delivering the project. There is a lot of things which goes around post delivery of the project as well, that is involved onto the taking feedbacks from the clients and the smooth closure of the project, like all the billing and everything is sorted and the expectations are met, clients are happy, and whatever was expected was delivered. So all those documentation, everything lies again with the RPA managers. So being said about the rules, what are kind of the skill sets which are required? So the very first thing is that with lots of management, be it and interactions, be it be client or resources or other teams, the very first and foremost requirement is the excellent communication skill. Managers should have excellent communication skills so that there should not be any gap between discussions or setting expectations or communication with any of these stakeholders. Next lies is the functional or domain knowledge. So managers should have good, I would not say excellent, but good functional or domain knowledge, just in case one should know that what kind of client they're managing on to, what could be the expectations, what could be the kind of use cases one can have to look onto or teach onto, and what could be the other kind of applications or a number of things which comes with the domain when I talk about domain or the functional things. So all these knowledge should be there on the high level with the managers. Next is documentation skills. Again, with lots of interactions, lots of reporting and everything, the one manager should have good documentation skills, be it PPT or Excel, because it's not about only interacting with these clients and resources. Manager is also responsible to for present the uh, status of the projects to stakeholders and the higher management. So documentation skill set is very must. Of course, the fourth one, which is the very common one, which every manager requires, is the management skill. It's self-explanatory. And the fifth one is problem solving skills. So RPA comes up with lots of challenges like any other project. I would say much more when we talk about RPA, be it be tool related or be it be application related or infra related or a number of, because there are a number of people who are getting involved into this entire journey. So one should be very cautious on to what could be the bottlenecks in future, and what if in case there any problem arises, what could be the proper solution to get the project delivered within timelines. So that instance should be there, and that comes up with the problem solving skills and experience, of course. So these are the very high level requirements when we talk about RPA manager. Now moving ahead for RPA business analyst. So like I told, business analysts are the one who looks around the functional gathering of the project and documentation related to it. So to gather those knowledge and the understanding of the process, first lies is the client interaction, be it be the process SMEs or the clients. This again comes into the purview of business analyst. Then we have project documentation, post understanding of the project entire process that needs to be documented, which again lies in the purview of business analyst. Then the post the project documentation, say there is a big project of insurance which comes in the purview, and there could be a number of processes which needs to be automated. So again, those process documentation is also purview of business analyst. Next is developer with the SA and interaction with the SA and developer. So that interaction is also with business analyst. It comes when the entire process is documented, that knowledge needs to be transferred to the solution architect and the same to the developer for the development of the project. So that interaction lies up. Then post the development is complete, test data preparation and testing that entire project, and sharing that result and validating that result again lies with the purview of business analyst. So it's not limited again. The entire testing is also the part of UAT and hypercare phases as well. So this entire purview of business analyst requires roles, which is again starts with excellent communication skill, because you are communicating with client, and the same with the developer. So the way you communicate is going to have an impact on what is the project which is going to be developed and delivered. So communication skill is must. Next is functional domain knowledge. This is again must, because when you are interacting with client of any say any domain, or if I say any process, so if you have high level knowledge onto, not high level, I would say rather good knowledge onto that domain, it would be easier to communicate and gather knowledge from the client. And knowing that what could be the challenges, you can easily communicate and have a good view onto it and document the same. So that's a must. Um, Again, there can be people who will come up with like it's not must, because the process is very frequent and it keeps on changing. A business analyst can be involved anywhere. So yeah, I agree on to it. Not, I would not say that is but that is not the real case going ahead, because when you talk about banking domain itself is very vast. But if you have knowledge onto banking, you know which all applications, what kind of processes are going to be involved. So if there is a kind of KYC, what is the KYC process, how it interacts? If there is a, say, fraud detection, so how does it works? So if you know about those things, there is always a win-win situation. There's always a plus. So functional on domain knowledge is very important. Moving ahead, documentation skill. This is again a must required for business analyst, because there is a lot of documentation which business analyst does, uh, making as is, documenting the PDD and the project status documents. So everything comes up with the documentation. So this skill set is required. So talking about the solution architect now, solution architect again starts with the client interaction, because once the entire process is understood, you need to interact from the technical perspective. If you have any details or knowledge you require from the technical forefront onto the application level or the process level or infra level, you need to interact with client as an architect. Next, the solution architect should be technology expert. So when I talk about technology, it does not only lies with the tool, but also the infra. Say if you are working on Citrix, what could be the challenges one will have while working on Citrix, be it free from the infra end or tool end. So those technology, if I'm talking about web applications, what port should be enabled, what kind of challenges it comes up when we interact with web application. So these things should, a solution architect should be well aware of, I would say. Next is solution designing and documentation. So before any developer is involved onto the solution, there is a solution architect who looks around the designing how the entire solution will look like once developed, what could be different approaches for solutioning, and documenting it is something which solution architect looks onto. Next is development skills. Solution architect should be very good into development, considering that there can be scenarios where developers are stuck. There could be complex scenarios where solution architects pitch into and help developers for the smooth delivery and development of the project. Next is internal bot review and test result validation. Now, this is something which generally not everyone practices, but is a must requirement, I would say, because when you go up for UAT, so before UAT and indeed before BA testing, I would say there should be something, a proper review of the bot, that the code is up to the industry level. It's following all the basic necessities and requirements, and also that on high level, the bot is working as expected from the PDD. So this is something which solution architects should look onto, because if the code is not developed up to mark or the bot is not performing as expected, it's unusual waste of time involving client, and also it gives a false and or bad impression in front of clients. So this is again internal bot review and test result validation on very first step lies with the solution architect, post which BA could be involved for internal testing alongside, and then we can go ahead for UAT testing. And the last one is the deployment management. So once everything is smooth, UAT results are fine as expected, then it comes to the deployment, be it to the test environment or the production deployment. So all those things lies with the solution architect. Again, talking about what kind of skill sets required. First one is good communication skill. I won't say excellent because again, there's not a lot of communication which requires here from the external stakeholders, but communication skill is a good communication skill is must, because again, you are interacting with a lot of teams, you're interacting with clients. So a bad communication skill is never going to help you out there. Then is it tool and technology knowledge? This is, of course, this is something which anyone should hold, that if I'm working on automation anywhere and or UiPath, what are the limitations of tool and the technology which I'm using? And one should be at par with the updates onto these fields. Next is the excellent logical skills, because when you are solutioning or designing a solution, you should be able to understand that what is going to be the best fit or the best solution for this entire process. So excellent logical skill set is must. And then there is documentational skills, because again, you are preparing a to-be solution. So that is where the Visio comes, or the PPT onto the how the technology will look like, how the project will look like, how the bot will interact, what kind of infra is going to be involved. So everything comes up in the documentation when you present to client and also to the managers. So documentation skills are must. And then is excellent coding skills, because you are the one whom the developers relies on to. So if developer is stuck anywhere, solution architects comes into picture where they seek help from if the senior developers are also not able to help them. So solution architect should be the one who should be kind of very good at coding, just in case to avoid. And it's not specific to tool, I would say, rather whatever the technologies or languages or anything which you are in, or scripts you are using within your solution, you should be good at it. So coding skills is a must. And last is the basic infra knowledge. Uh, I would say basic because there are usually infrastructure team which gets involved onto preparing of what kind of infrastructure is required, but how it is going to work, how the process works, how the flow works, how the interaction happens, what are the basic necessity for the your project deployment and smooth run. So those kind of basic infra knowledge is must for the solution architect. Being said that, now let's move to the RP developers. So first we'll discuss about the hierarchy. So any developer who starts their journey starts as a junior, the junior developer, where in the basic very high level knowledge you have, and then you start with any of the project. So with a couple of projects delivering a few projects and a year passes by, your skills gets enhanced, and with your experience you become a senior developer, like I told. So talking about what kind of responsibility and skill sets required are that RP developers should have good logical skills, because you are developing a project, you are doing a coding. So you should know that what kind of commands you should use, and what logic change could help you sort in the AHT of the bot. AHT is the average handling time. So if say performing a step or clicking uh, uh, what kind of loop should you use, or you should not go for loop, or a nested loop is required or not. So those kind of logical skills and the coding skills are required. Tool knowledge is must, because if you don't have the knowledge of tool, uh, it will be difficult for delivering the project at go. So but if you have any of the tool knowledge, and I would say if you are going for any other tool, like say you have good knowledge of UI path, and then you are going for automation anywhere. So the basic logic remains same, only that the commands changes. So any developer will take few days or weeks of time to have good hands on to those tools, but it will be time consuming. Uh, but if you have good knowledge of the tool, delivery will be much faster, I would say. So tool knowledge is must. Uh, Basic documentation skills should be there, because it's the TDD or enhancement of SDD, solution design document, is something which RP developers does. So those basic documentation skills should be there. And when you hand over it to the support, that is also comes up with the handover documents, which is again prepared by the developers itself. So basic documentation skills. Solution testing skills. So once your bot is developed, you should be able to test those solutions onto the parameters of what is given into PDD, and your bot is running as expected. So those testing skills are required. So uh, these are very high level requirement for the RP developers. Now let's look on to who is responsible for what. So like we discussed in the earlier videos, that what are different phases of RPA delivery lifecycle, and what kind of documentation and what are all processes involved in those entire delivery lifecycle. We'll discuss on to who is responsible for what, considering we have now seen what kind of stakeholders are involved onto the entire journey. So we'll first start with the RPA supervisor. So RPA manager, like you see, if I talk about the annotations. So yeah, uh, if you see here, so we have very first is the RPA manager supervisor. So if you see, the purview lies for the entire roles. So if you see business analyst, solution architect, RP developer, RP infra engineer, or RP support team. So everyone is something where the eye is being kept by the RPA manager or supervisor. Managers can be seeing more than one project at a time. Same is the scenario with RP business analyst and solution architect. Mostly developers are not involved into multiple projects at one time. So this is how the hierarchy and work culture lies mostly. So we'll start with the discovery phase. Discovery phase comes up with very first is the RPA opportunity assessment. So where the assessment is done, whether the process is good fit for RPA or not. This is done by the business analyst. This is where the functional skill sets comes into picture. Once the business analyst is sure that this process is feasible, so business analysts share a very high level for RPA implementation plan, how the entire journey will look like, uh, uh, along with the help of RPA solution architect. So solution architect post discussion with RPA business analyst, what is the process, how it looks like, develops an implementation plan, which is shared by the RPA business analyst to the client, and a go ahead is taken by the business analyst. So these interactions with the client is something business analyst does. In this particular phase itself, if anything is required which is missing, or any more detail is required by the solution architect, a client interaction can be done here. But setting up these meetings and um, setting up expectations, taking go ahead, sign offs are the purview of business analyst. Moving ahead, once everything is done, sorted, project go ahead is confirmed, then the solutioning part comes into picture, where BA BA document the entire process in detail on keystroke level. What is the process, how it looks like, what steps needs to be followed. So this is where the business analyst comes into picture, and PDD is documented by business analyst. Once PDD is documented, this particular knowledge transfer is given to the developer and solution architect. Again, it depends, like if developer is free at that time, or a solution architect first want to understand the process, or a combined session needs to be given. BA comes into picture and give a transition knowledge transfer onto the process to the solution architect and developer. A high-level SDD is developed by the solution architect, which is the solution design document, which involves the to-be solution and the technical details onto the project delivery. We'll show these documents and we'll have a different session on to each of these important documents in the RPA journey. So solution architect is the one who is responsible for very high level of SDD development. And the technical design document is again, which is something which RP developers comes into picture. So as your solution gets developed, those all things needs to be documented. This can be a shared role between RPA solution architect and senior developers or the developers involved in the project. So it depends what kind of work culture is being followed in your organization. Once these documents are properly documented and verified internally, this is shared by the business analyst to the client for a sign off. So PDD and SDD sign off is something which lies into the purview of business analyst. Moving ahead, once these are signed off, these documents are signed off and client agrees onto the documented steps and solution, comes the implementation phase. So if you see, the role is now the role is getting confined. Development and unit test. So these things are completely looking onto by the RPA developer. Installation, configuration, and bot guide is prepared by the solution architect. However, if there is a senior developer or team lead involved, this is something again which can be a shared role between the RPA developers and solution architect. Uh, when the everything is done, developed and tested, everything is ready. Again, BA come into picture where UAT is performed at very high level with the help of client, either with the involvement of client or very first phase of testing. If a business analyst wants to do with the RP developer, that can be done. So maintaining a defect metrics, if any bugs has been found or issues has been found. So these things are maintained by the RP business analyst and the developers. Then sharing the UAT result and verification report is done by the business analyst because it requires client interaction. These reports and results need to be shared by the client, shared with client, I would say. Again, it can be that if client is being involved directly into UAT testing or client wants it to be tested in background and wants the test result. So these documentation are taken care by business analyst. Then comes bot infra readiness and deployment plan. So deployment plan and infra readiness is something which lies in the purview of solution architect, and RP infra team gets involved into if in case there is someone or this particular section belongs in that organization. Otherwise, a solution architect who looks around these things along with the business analyst. So business analyst doesn't do much onto here. Just in case if any help is required, they help or help interact multiple teams if in case required for the solution architects. So that kind of thing is where business analyst involved in this phase. Then we have a hypercare daily transaction. So once this UAT is complete and bot is moved into hypercare, there's a hypercare phase of 1 week or 2 week or say. So again, that transaction execution report is something which a business analyst keeps their eyes on to and share that report for that phase. If everything goes smooth into the hypercare phase, that is where we get the solution sign off. So again, business analyst is involved here. Then we have bot run handover checklist. Again, once your bot is developed and is in hypercare phase or in UAT phase, that is where a bot handover checklist is prepared, because now bot will move into the support phase. So there should be a document, a proper document, which should maintain that what kind of what all prerequisites are there for bot run, what could be the issues, or what could be the checklist which one needs to take care of post migration of bot to production or post closure of hypercare. So that documentation should be taken up by the technical team, where the solution architect and developers are involved onto. Then we have client readiness checklist sign off. This is from the client purview. This is again prepared by business analyst. Daily bot run report. This is again business analyst is involved, and the incident or change management report is also taken care by business analyst. So these things are only up till the hypercare closure phase. Once hypercare is closed, the role of business analyst gets over post hypercare sign off, and the support team comes into the picture. or if there is a client relationship management team, then they come into picture post hypercare closure phase. Post that, the business analyst could be allocated to different project or different process and could move from there. So uh, moving to the prod and support, support handover is something which the RPA developer prepares, and shared the transition is done with the with RPA support team. So developer interaction with the support team happens here. A hypercare sign off is taken by the business analyst. Post everything goes smooth, and then the handover sign off is something which should be taken by the solution architect and the RPA support team. So everything has been delivered successfully. Support team is comfortable taking looking around the project post delivery is something which solution architect has to take confirmation from. This is how the entire journey and entire process looks like, and the people who are getting involved onto. But if in case there is any bottleneck comes, any issues comes, or any other team is getting involved, so that is something where RPA manager has always a keen, has an bird eye view onto, I would say. So what were the key highlights if I talk about? So project manager is involved in keeping bird eye view onto the entire process, checking the RAG status and taking necessary actions if required for the smooth delivery of the project. However, the delivery of the entire project and the roles and responsibilities are clearly defined. SS can be involved at time of development if any challenges faced, like I told, that is where the development skill sets are helpful. Next is responsibility of clearing any process related doubts or coordination with client resides with BA. So if in case developer is not able to understand any process, or client has some confusions with the process, so these things relies with BA. The communication and knowledge transfer should be well taken care by the business analyst. Responsibility of timely development of the project and calling the risk at the right time or before time lies with the solution architect, because if you there is a delay in calling out the risk, that can be overall risk to the project delivery. So solution architect is responsible from the technical perspective. Responsibility of checking code standard again lies with solution architect, that the code should be developed as per the industry standard. Next is that post support handover cycle extends and works as per the specific support model of the organization. It can differ from organization to organization. However, once the project is delivered and is handover is given to the support team, development and other team members are released and can be are ready to move on to different project. So these were the high level highlights. What next? So going ahead, we will discuss onto these important documents in detail. Till then, stay healthy, take care, and keep learning. Thank you, everyone.